Welcome back to the Sensible Mama podcast. I am Polina Westcott, your host. Very excited to be with you today. Before we get started, please hit subscribe and share this show with a mama that you think would like it. My guest today is TJ. Super excited for today's conversation. It's a little bit unusual because we're not talking specifically about birth or pregnancy or even really postpartum, more the topic of motherhood in general. Which obviously I have a lot of thoughts and a lot to say about, and I'm super excited for our chat. So TJ, say hello to everybody, tell us who you are, and we'll get right into it.
Hello, everybody. I am TJ Edwards, Tamara Jesse. You do the math, the T and the J. I am 31 years old. I live in Central Florida. I love it here. I am an absolute and total lizard, and the warmth is where I should be. But most importantly, and I think what qualifies me to be on this podcast, is I am the mama of 4 littles. My eldest is 7, and she is an absolute rock star, and my youngest just turned 1. So I am also a creator, a producer, and I have a real passion for helping mamas, and currently I'm working in the fertility space.
This is so incredible. I feel like we should probably do an entire podcast on just that topic alone, separate from what we're going to talk about today, because you probably have a lot to say about that, and I think it would be really interesting. But we thought that today would be a good opportunity to talk about this idea of having to sacrifice as a mother.
Yes.
This idea that you can't have it all. And I understand why people say that. I do. I understand where the idea comes from. I definitely get it. But we kind of wanted to talk about that. And why is that a datum that we all seem to subscribe to? Not all of us, but some of us seem to really subscribe to. And what can we do about it? Tell me your thoughts, like high level thoughts on this topic, and then we'll get a little bit more granular.
We'll get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gave my husband a very strict, like, this is what's happening communication when I got pregnant, which was, I will never be a stay-at-home mom, and I will never give up my business, and I will never, ever, ever just be like a wife and a mom. It just will not occur. So if that's what you want, you should probably marry someone else. And like half the time between this baby, okay? But at the time, I also told him that I would never hire a nanny, and that it was very important to me that our child was raised by us, which is still very important to me, but just in a different way. And I think I had a lot of ideas, and they were very uneducated ideas of what motherhood would look like, and the reality hit me really hard.
Yeah.
And with one, it actually wasn't that big of a deal, at least for me. Like, she was baby. I took her with me everywhere. I went to every meeting, every client check-in, every shoot, anything. She just came with me. She was my best friend. She got a little bit older and started walking. It became a bit more complicated. And, now I have 4, and it's not like I can just take them to the office with me. Like, it's pretty impossible. Like, my husband is handling them right now, so they're not like literally sitting all over me while we do this podcast, but I'm sure they would have more to say. I think culturally a lot has changed, right? Like culturally in the last 100 years, things are very different for moms, and I don't think in 2025 this like traditional idea of either you get a job and you work the job and you climb the ladder, or being a stay-at-home mom. I don't think the or works for us in 2025. And I think like I would love to talk about that on this podcast. Just like the or doesn't fit into who we are as women anymore.
Yeah. I mean, so I had this idea very similar to you when I first got pregnant that, I had a job working from home. It was very convenient. My boss was amazing, is amazing. And I was pregnant, and I was like, okay, I'm going to like take a maternity leave. I'm going to get accustomed to life with the baby. Maybe I'll be on like an adjusted schedule at the beginning, but then I'll work my way back up to like 40 hours. I had this idea that he would just like stay in his crib and chill out, all day or something. I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't know what the idea was, but
I don't know. I don't know what I thought a baby was, but I had this vision of what it was going to look like. And then I was like 2 months into my maternity leave, and I was like, I don't want to do anything else. I don't want, like, not that I don't have other pursuits or goals or whatever in life, but like, I want to give everything of myself to my child and future children. And I don't want to sacrifice my ability to give of myself fully.
Yeah.
And so I had to like completely start from scratch, where all I've ever known my entire life, since I was 16, I've been working 9 to 5, right? And then I'd take night, like I had a job at night too, since the age of 16. So I was
Wow.
working 80 hours a week. I was commuting 20 hours a week. I was like, go, 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 go. And I just didn't have a concept that there was any other choice.
Yes. And this is where it gets interesting, and I think that like we have to take a step back and sort of like look around, because I don't know about you, but like I have surveyed this point. Like I have asked, how do we do this? Like how are we doing this? And I found a couple of like really successful actions when I was looking, and I was looking at like couples specifically, right? Like really successful couples that I admire. Because I've been an entrepreneur like basically from the day I was born. Like I at like 7 was like making purses out of my old jeans and selling them in front of my house.
That's amazing.
I I am like, I will make it. And I think also because my entire family is artists, like it just was so ingrained in me, is that like you're a business and you're the brand, so you just get up and do it, right?
Wow.
Like I had no concept of the 9 to 5. Like I didn't realize that I could work for someone else and that they would be responsible ultimately for what occurred. Like,
interesting.
I didn't have that. I thought that like if I stopped working, we would be poor. And like I was like, I've been on food stamps. I'm good. Actually, this baby, she's just gonna come on in. She's gonna live off my boob, and we're just gonna keep on rolling. But I think that it's an interesting point, right? Like you have this idea of what it's gonna look like, and then the baby comes, and it's like, holy crap. Like this is different, right? And at least for me, it's something that I feel like I've gone through with each child, of this like struggle between like what I want to do and accomplish as a person myself, right? And then what I want my family life to look like. And I think it can be very pulling and upsetting, and like this problem that just will not go away and is like always sitting on you. Because when I was with my kids, I felt like I should have been working or studying or producing something that impacted the world more than Play-Doh. And when I was producing those things, I felt like I should have been with my kids. And I think there was really like, there was 2 shifts, and this is going to sound so cliche, but I really had to look at the fact that at home, I'm not replaceable. Like I have clients all over the country, and I fly to them, and I shoot their content, and I like produce for them, and I am basically like them online. I pretend to be them, right? And I know that I'm really good at what I do, but there are other people who can do this job. Like there are other talented creators. And I kept noticing that every time I'd leave town, my kids would get sick. And I was like, okay. But what's interesting about this, and what we sort of touched on our like initial like we should do a podcast, is that I finally feel like I've come to like a not like the top of the mountain and figured it all out, because I don't think we ever actually get there.
Is that even a thing?
No, I've given up on that one. But that like I finally realized just a couple of weeks ago that like you can actually have it all. And I think the part that's interesting about that is it's the have. You can have it all. You can have an incredible marriage. You can have a wonderful relationship with your children. You can have a homeschool curriculum that you run off of. You can have clients. You can have big goals and like a beautiful house. You can have all of these things. You just can't do it all yourself. Like you have to have systems and organization and like abilities to have help. And I think that 100 years ago, we had villages.
Right.
And we don't have that. I don't know about you, but like my mom has not met 3 of my children.
Oh my goodness.
Like she's not in the picture. And I don't have any family in Florida. My mother-in-law comes down for a few weeks at a time, but like she doesn't live near us, and she's amazing and she helps, don't get me wrong. But she doesn't have the ability to take care of all 4 of them all day while I go skip and take a nap and drink some soup, and like it's unrealistic. And I think that if we can get really freaking clear as women of like, we have to build our lives around our families. Like a corporation, a business, a job is not going to do that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we can get really clear on that and like as a collective generation go like, okay, so we have to create this ourselves. I think that the mom guilt, I think that the depression, I think that the losses on this line would be so decreased, and it would actually do so much for the planet, because women who are the ones who are creative would actually be able to do our jobs.
It's amazing. And I agree wholeheartedly. But I can hear a mom out there who is trying to do it all in the pursuit of having it all might say, well, that sounds nice, TJ. That sounds utopian almost,
Yes.
you know, and might ask a question like, what could I do today to get me closer to that goal?
Okay, so I feel like I was that mom that was like, okay, I get it, that's really nice, but who's gonna do it if I don't do it?
Yes.
Like you don't have to do everything. Okay, who's gonna do it?
Right, my clone.
My AI robot?
Yeah.
Like, are they gonna do it?
Is ChatGPT gonna change the diapers for me? No.
Great. No, I really think it has to do with getting super freaking clear on what the goal is. Right? So my husband and I went to dinner. Like it was quite a thing. Like I sat down with my notepad, which is for some reason not in the room right now, but I sat down with my notepad and I wrote out what the ideal scene was for me. Not for you, not for my husband, not for my kids, for me. Like, what do I actually want? And I got really clear on a very big goal, a goal that was like worth chasing, you know, and that big goal would help the world. It would help my city. It would help my children, like in their future, if the world was a better place, like they would be doing well. It would help my marriage because we would be so freaking proud of each other and we could like work towards this goal together, right? And I got really clear about that. And then I was able to look at different tasks that I do and whether they contribute to that goal. But I wasn't able to do that until I named it out.
Mm.
And I would get really like, okay, well, this week I really want to be with my kids. And then I would be with them for a week and I'm like, I have such an ability to make money. I really like more of it. You know, like I would almost become the Grinch. Like I would be up and down and up and down. And I feel like it's very fitting with my sweater right now. Like I just couldn't get clear. And I think that once you're able to look like, where are you the most valuable? You know, like, are you the most valuable doing bath time? Or are you the most valuable reading a book in the morning? And I know that sounds so silly, but like you actually have to get that specific, I think. Like my husband does bedtime routine. He does it all by himself. It's my time to work. But in the morning, from 8 to 12, I have a nanny, which is my time to go and work on my classes, do any spiritual enhancement I want to do, get my nails done, like work, do anything I want to do from 8 to 12. And then from 12 until Alex gets home and it's bedtime, it's all on me.
Yeah.
You know, but
and you homeschool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, they have to go to, there's several dance classes a week. Each one of my daughters have 4 dance classes a week. And they're in softball, and they're in art, and they're in gymnastics. Like, it's just like, I have to run the family as like the leader. But then when I'm working, I have clients. It's being able to like obviously roll with the punches. And I'm not saying that every day is perfect. Like I run into my own barriers. I think what keeps it exciting is realizing that my family and I are on the same team. Like we're moving towards the same goal. Because I've experienced this and I'm sure you have too. And if I don't have a goal, my goal becomes to get myself. Like I am so sad. I'm so angry. I like fight with my husband. Like it makes the game, like my game is these 6 people in my house and like this one left a sock and this one, like, like why didn't you bring down your dirty clothes?
I do a similar thing, but it manifests a little differently where I just internalize. After the birth of my first kid, it took me a solid 6 months postpartum to feel like myself again. And in
Yeah.
those 6 months, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm healthy. I didn't have like some traumatic birth. I had a beautiful home birth. It was like fantastic. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
listened to some birth trauma stories and I'm like, I
Good.
had nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, it was work, but I like, my pregnancy was beautiful. My husband and I have a great relationship. You know, I got a like a little part-time work from home job that I was doing. We were like making ends meet. It was okay. Like everything was seemed okay on the surface, but I was like
Yes.
like a
I
raisin
totally
on the
understand.
inside, you know.
Yeah.
And
Like everything's fine. I'm fine.
I'm totally good. Ugh, just don't talk to me about anything meaningful, okay? Um,
Things you might catch it. Yeah.
oh man. And then like after 6 months, I was like physically more recovered.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see friends. I didn't want to, and I wouldn't call it postpartum depression because I wasn't really depressed. I was just not interested. I just had a
Yeah. I
deep
found it
and
the
severe
overwhelm.
lack of interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it took some time, like after 6 months, I kind of recognized what was happening. Like, okay, I need to like force myself out of this somehow or another. So I started like looking, okay, what interests me? What can I create? And I was kind of grasping. I didn't really know. And it was my own version of your story where I was looking for that ideal scene. I was looking for that goal.
Yes.
And now suddenly, with the birth of my second, 2 years later, I was like, wait, I'm obsessed with birth. I'm obsessed. I listen to podcasts, I listen to audiobooks in my spare time. I'm just like eating up everything I can on the subject of birth, pregnancy, you know, midwife skills. I'm like, I don't want to be a midwife, but I'm
Love it.
obsessed with the subject. So what do? I'm just going to start writing a blog. And someone's like, start
Yeah.
a podcast. I'm like, me? Talk to people online? Ew, I can't find
Yes.
my own voice, you know? And then I somehow got thrown into accidentally becoming a doula, like completely unexpectedly.
Oh, it's so cool.
And I'm like so excited. And it all is so aligned. And my kids love it. They're like, oh, you're going to go help another mama have a baby. Send us pictures when you see the baby, you know? My kids are
Cute.
2 and 4 almost. And like, they're all for it. My husband is supportive. I have my parents on board, so they also work from home, so I can like drop the kids with them if I need to go do a podcast. I mean, they're literally out playing in the snow right now with their grandparents, you know.
So fun.
And so I went from a position of completely lack of interest in life. I love my kids and always have, but it wasn't like I wasn't fully there for them because I wasn't fully me. You know what I mean? I thought I was there for them, but I wasn't.
Totally understand. I think also there's this point, and I struggled with this as a new mom, hardcore, man. Like, I'm telling you, I would think about this for hours a day. Like, I wasn't even really with my clients, and I wasn't really with my kids because I was just like having this reoccurring thought of like, do I want her to be with me all the time? Like, do I want to be with her and for her to like know me and for us to like know each other and be like just the freaking best of friends and like with her all the time, and she's mine, you know, like she was mine. She's really her own person, but that was my viewpoint at that time. Like I was obsessed with her. Or do I want her to be proud of me? Like, do I want to build something that she can look up to and learn from and like have and I can pass down to her and like really build something where she can be like, that's my mom. And I can't say that I ever really worked that out. I think that for me it became, what do I need to feel fulfilled? Because I think a fulfilled mom is so much happier and just honestly a much better mom. If I were to stay home and cook banana bread all day and chauffeur them around, I'm a very able person and I know that I can do so much. For me to spend, I don't know, let's say like 10 years just like baking banana bread, like I would be resentful. I don't want to make them feel that like, oh, my mom doesn't like being my mom. Like I want them to know that I thoroughly enjoy them. Like I don't just like love them. Like I love them obviously, but I like them. Like
Yeah.
I admire them. I think they've taught me so much and they're like incredible people and they're my best friends.
And you want them to bring out the best in you, not the resentful part of you that's like, I should be doing something else, or I'm not living up to my own personal expectations of myself. Like, But because it's the same thing with any relationship. If you and I are good friends and you're like, you're not, like, you want to build each other up. You want everybody around you to make you a better person. You want to make other people better people. Like, everything should be just in the direction of let's lift everybody up. And kids are very much included in that, and they want to feel that way too.
I think also kids are more perceptive than like we give them credit for.
Oh, so much.
Like, my husband and I rarely, if ever, fight. Like, we've never had a screaming match. We've been married for almost 10 years. Like, never screamed at each other. Like, we've definitely had, like, we call come to Jesus moments where it's like, we need to, like, click in. And we've, like, had little, like, hey, like, meh. And I thought, like, we didn't yell. And we didn't really show that we were upset, so there's no way that they knew, like, we're so good. No, we're not. Like, the next day they have 102 fever. Like, it affects them so much because, like, we're their security. And I think having that stable base means so much to them, like, more than we could ever fathom. Like, I'm the oldest of 6 kids. And I really got to see, because my parents divorced when I was 5. My dad remarried and then had 2 more kids. And there was a stepbrother in there, which made 6. When my stepmom and my dad divorced, I was really, like, sort of thrown into this role of being, like, more of an adult and a partner, and I was 14. And so at that point I was like, okay, I'm babysitting, I'm making money, I'm, like, helping a family, I'm doing this, okay, dad's on set, so, like, I'm doing, you know what I mean? Like, I was really able to see what, like, adulthood looked like. And, like, I was like, oh, this is, like, really a lot. And I can't say that I fully understood, but, like, we really are the ones that create their universe. And I don't want to say that we should, like, be propitiative to them at all. Because really, like, they need to know that you get more freedoms when you grow up, and they need to want to grow up and to be contributing members of society. But at the same time, I think that it's so important that we realize that, like, it has so much to do with us.
Yeah.
And I do not ever want my daughter to be like, well, I really didn't like that, but I really wanted them to like me, so I did it anyway.
Yeah. But
can you imagine?
To your point, I want my kids to look at my husband and I and say, wow, these people, these big people, these grown-ups are loving life, and they are busy and they are productive, and they have high morale, and they have pride in their work, and they're doing things, and other people seem to respect that and admire that. And I want them to look up to that. And the only way that I can do that, like, I can't lie to myself. I've tried.
It doesn't really work out. It's, like, really annoying.
Really work out really great.
It's like, you know, you're lying or something.
Right? It sucks. I've really tried. Trust me, guys. I've tried. But I can't lie to myself and say, no, everything is great and I love my life.
Yeah.
I can say the words, but I'm telling you, my kids are too damn smart. They are way too smart. And they know, maybe they don't realize the full extent or the breadth or whatever, but they understand a heck of a lot more than even I give them credit for. And I give them a lot. But
isn't that interesting, though?
It's so wild.
Like, they are beings themselves. And it's interesting, too, because I've watched different parenting styles, right? And I think the one that works for me, obviously not every parent, but the one that works for me is, like, to treat my kids like people. Like, they are people. They're definitely, like, I'm their boss, for sure. And, like, we all work as a team, but I call them a team. Like, we go somewhere and I'm like, okay, team, here's the mission. Like, they are the team. And, like, to treat them like they're part of the team versus, like, okay, listen, sit down now, shut up, now don't say anything. Which may work for some parents, but, like, my kids would go, like, and fuck you, and I'm out.
I had an interesting conversation with a family member whose identity I will leave anonymous for the sake of this, for their own sake. But
yeah,
there was a conversation on the subject of spanking, right? Because back in the day, that was a normal part of parenting and so forth. Whatever. That was just a thing that was done. And
happened to me, for sure.
Yeah. And it was like a conversation happened where, hey, by now in this particular interaction, I would have, they told me. And I was like, understood. That doesn't happen in our household. And I had to take a moment to, like, I mean, that is a strict rule. I do not hit my children. Like, I've bopped my little one on the head before when he bit my nipple while nursing, full disclosure, because...
But that's also different.
Yeah.
You're not like, you did X, so now you get beaten.
Yeah, but not like, hey, you're not listening to me, so, you know, you get the belt or whatever. And I realized that you know, there's the golden rule, right? You want to treat others the way you want to be treated. You want to do things to others that you would be able to, like, easily experience yourself. And I don't want my kids to hit me, and I have to set a good example, and I have to be the bigger person. Like, yeah, they can
literally the bigger person.
Literally, they can be little terrorists sometimes. They're still figuring out how this world works. They're still figuring out their rules. They're pushing their boundaries. They really like to do that. I've got 2 boys, and they are boys through and through, and they're like, all right, the line is here. I'm gonna toe it just a little bit.
Yeah, let's see how far it goes.
Yeah, and it's a really fascinating thing for me, and I've grown as a person. But I had this conversation with this family member, and I said, look, I am setting a good example. I tell them to resolve their conflicts using communication. And if that doesn't work, then they can disconnect and they can take some space apart from each other and then come back and sort it out. You know, like, I'm teaching them how to get along in the world, and I don't, like, I'm going to teach them self-defense. You know what I mean? I'm going to teach them that there is a time and a place for those kinds of actions. But just because somebody's rude to you, that's not a reason. And so if they're being rude to me, what am I teaching them if I smack them, but then I tell them they can't do that either? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a really hard line. I think, like, it's interesting because I was talking to a nanny about something similar to this the other day, and she was like, I came home and she was like, what was happening? I was taking the kids to a dance lesson. I was like, okay, get your shoes. And they're like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, totally got it. Get your shoes. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, go get your shoes and get in the car. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, go get your shoes and get in the car. Oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. And they go off, right? And the nanny goes, wow, they really just, like, listened to you and whatever you said. And I was like, did you hear how many times I repeated myself? Like, I minimally repeated myself 4 times. Right? But, like, I realized, and I've built this with my kids over time, like, it wasn't an overnight thing, but, like, they listen to me because there's, like, a level of respect there.
yes.
You know, and they listen to me because they know that I'm not steering them in the wrong direction. I actually used to have a really hard time with my redhead. Like, I would joke that I was going to throw her off the balcony, but it was, like, not that much of a joke. Like,
I understand.
She was
I do have
me
a redhead. Let's
nuts.
just put it that way.
Yes. I was like, I also was born a redhead, and then my hair just got darker and darker and darker. So I think I figured it was safer to not be a redhead because in my family talking back was really not a good idea. Yeah. There was switches and belts and things of that nature. But I am very strong-willed, and so is she. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, what is going on? And finally, I went to my church and I bought a course on raising children because I was like, something has to give before, like, I'm going to make her nothing. Like, I will nullify her into nothingness because we're, like, at odds. And it's not my job. My job, and I think it's super important, especially with daughters, it's 2025. Like, they need to be strong women. They need to be able to voice their opinion, able to say no, able to stand up for their household, stand up for their rights, stand up for their family.
Mm-hmm.
And
you need them to be strong-willed.
I need them to
but you need to survive it.
Yeah. And so what was interesting is that I read one piece of this course, and if anyone wants to take this course that's listening to this podcast, just DM me and I'll send you the link. But there was this one piece, and it said that, like, you don't actually solve something by getting angry with the child. If there's an upset or they're not listening, you should stop, communicate with them. And it could be about something totally different. And then ask the request again, because at some point it was not safe to listen to you. And I was like, whoa, okay, like, maybe this is true, maybe it isn't, right? So I went home literally that day. I wasn't even done with this course. I went home literally that day, and I was like, Ro, go to bed. And she was like, no. And I was like, Ro, go to bed, like as if my like opening my eyes wider was going to get her to listen.
It's a magic thing.
Yeah, no, didn't work. And then I was like, okay, let me just try this thing from this course, see if it works. And I was like, hey, how was your day? And she was like, well, I went to dance and da-da, Miss T said blah, 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 blah. And she was like, whoa, you had like a jam-packed day, dude. And she was like, I really did, Mama. And I'm like, okay, well done on getting through that. I'm really glad you had a good time at dance. What do you think about going to bed now? And she was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, okay, well, you go lay down and I'll be in there to shut off the light in a minute. And she was like, okay. And I was like,
and you're like,
did anyone else see that? Did anyone else see that? I literally was like, am I in the fucking Twilight Zone? You're going to have to bleep so much of this podcast.
It's okay. It's all good.
Like, I was like, does that even, like, how? And I just started doing that with her. I'm telling you, this little girl who used to be like, every time I walked in, like, I was pretty sure I was like, that she was like, how did I pick this like wimp as a mother? Like, she was like ready to like curb stomp me. And I was ready to curb stomp her too. She now does not let me leave the house. She runs to my car and is like, mommy huggy kissy, mommy huggy kissy. Everywhere we go, she wants to hold my hand. I was like laying down the other night and she came in there and she was like, mommy, can I cuddle with you? Like, it's 100% changed our dynamic, but the only reason why is that I actually respected that she has the ability to make a decision. Whether I think the decision is correct or not, it actually has nothing to do with parenting. Like, I need to teach her how to be a successful member of society and also how to reach her own goals. And beyond that, it's not really my job. Like, my job is to give her the abilities to do what she wants to do. Beyond that, like, she needs manners to do what she needs to do. She needs to know how to feed her body. She needs to know how to communicate.
And there is something to be said, like, you do need to have a foundation of morals and
of course
values. You know what I mean? Like, those things are important. And I think that is the responsibility of the parent to say, okay, these are the things that will enhance your survival. And you need to understand that if you do this, that is contrary to the, you know, the survival of yourself and the people around you. But, you know, some people, everybody has an opinion, right? Everybody talks to you about your kids. Everybody has an idea. And people are like, oh, you know, this child of yours is going to be a this when he grows up. And I go, that's out of my hands.
Out of our hands.
That's not my choice.
100% out of our hands.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with us. And I think that it's interesting because I found, at least for my kids, each one of them have told me what they want to be. Like, even the 1-year-old wants to dance so bad. Like, she's not in dance classes. She's 1. She can't even walk yet. But she grabs onto something and she points and she flexes and she points and she flexes and she points and she puts her hand on her hip and she goes. And I'm like, I get it. You want to dance. And I'm like, okay, why don't we, like, learn how to walk? Like, not interested. She, like, literally cannot walk. She's 13 months old. But point and flex and hold on to a bar. She absolutely can, and her posture is perfect. Like, that's what she wants to be. And my son wants to be Spider-Man, which, like, maybe not a totally realistic dream, but
I can relate. My almost 4-year-old is also a big fan of Miles and wants to be Miles when he grows up.
I mean, valid choice.
Yes.
But I did, like, pull it out of him the other day. I was like, why do you want to be Spider-Man? And he was like, well, Mommy, I have to save the world. And I was like,
that we can do.
There's so many ways to do this, my friend. So many ways to skin a cat, you know? But I think that it's an interesting point, right? But to get back to, like, our doing it all, having it all conversation, I really do think that we're doing ourselves a disservice as women to, like, put ourselves in a box. Because in my, like, looking at successful couples, I found a couple of datums that I think will be helpful for women watching this.
Do tell
One
me.
of them was that the women that I admired, whose husbands were, like, the husband and wives who were very successful and their kids were very successful, they all had one thing in common, the husband and wife, is that they worked on something together. Which I thought was very interesting. Now, I'm telling you, I looked at, like, 10 different successful families. Which, like, to find a successful family where, like, the kids are also successful is, like, not, like, the easiest thing. unfortunately. To find like a successful mom and dad who are together, who are successful in like terms of 2025 success and what that looks like, or wherever your definition is, who have like the financial income to support things and the causes that they want to support, and who are happy. And then also have multiple children, and those children are also happy, have their own families, are not like on drugs or in jail. It was hard to find. And I also, so that's one, is that they work on something together. For example, I really admire the Cummins family. I think they're incredible. Okay. They work on one thing together. Like Victoria isn't over here creating something while Tom is creating this over here. They're like, you know, she is always right there beside him. And I would be interested if we can get Tom and Victoria on this podcast. What did they do when their kids were little?
Interesting, yeah.
Can you hear my son in the other room?
I can. That's okay. No worries.
Okay.
It's a bunch of moms that are listening to this podcast, or soon to be moms, and this is the reality. It's all good.
Hi guys.
It's all good.
So sorry. Boobie cup. By the way, these are my baby boobs. My roommate from before I had children made this mug for me when I was pregnant with my second, because she was like, I know your boobs will never look like this, but I saw them so often being your roommate that I thought I'd make you a mug so you can look at them and remember how they used to look. And I do every day. I look at them and remember they used to look.
I find that to be hysterical and also a little bit sad, but also really hysterical.
I'm like, it was worth it, but like also, was it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely, the way that I put it is that my boobs have officially lost the fight with gravity.
They've lost the will to live.
They have lost the will to live.
I think at this point, they're trying to escape off my body because I co-slept and would like feed them in the middle of the night so often that they were just always being pulled to the side, and I
can relate on such a deep level. Yeah, I can totally relate.
That they're just like, they point away. They're like, ah! They would like to go.
You know the song, Do Your Ears Hang Low?
Yeah. Do your ears hang low?
Do they wobble to and fro? Can you tie them in a knot? Can you tie them in a bow? Can you throw them over your shoulder like a continental soldier? Yes, I can. My boobs do hang low.
I absolutely can. Yeah, my husband makes a joke that and I was super sick over the summer and had to stop breastfeeding my daughter, which is the earliest I've ever stopped breastfeeding. I actually was breastfeeding continuously for 7 years, which is just like wild to me. I never stopped. So when I had to stop because I was in the hospital on drugs and stuff, I was like, okay, well, maybe they'll like perk back up. They did not. But he likes to joke that the lease has ended on these and they are now back to their rightful owner. But
I hope like, the rightful owner appreciates that there is a cosmetic change.
He's like, I don't even care.
Yeah, they really, husbands don't care. They really
It doesn't
don't
bother
care.
him at all. He's like, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. Okay, good. This is why women are aesthetic beings and men are men. Anyway, okay, so Tom and Victoria Cummins, I would be super interested to know what they did when they had little kids, but I think what's interesting is that they as a family go to events. They as a family work on causes. They as a family work on a business. Even though their kids are married and have kids of their own, like their grandkids work on stuff. I just think that's hot. Like when you have a purpose that's so big that like you all move towards it, right? Yeah. And then the other thing that I thought was super interesting was that the women who I admire who have like big businesses that make big impacts, right? Like let's say like Sarah Blakey and Spanx, or like the woman who founded Freedom Mom. What I noticed about these women were that they built their corporation off of two things, or their business, their passion, whatever you want to call it. But I truly believe that Frida and Spanx are built for women by women in like the absolute of that definition, right? Both of these women saw a need for something that was lacking and made it, but they made it around their family. They didn't go, I mean, like, okay, let's take the founder of Freedom Mom, right? She's a mom, and she was asked where she has all the ideas for her products, right? Because there's hundreds of them at this point. She has Free to Mom, she has Free to Baby, she has Free to Kid, like so many products, right? And she said, well, every time I ran into a problem in motherhood that I didn't have a solution for, I made one. Great. Like, talk about ideal. Like,
simple enough, yeah.
Yeah, she was like, I need a solution as a mom, so I made one. Like, her kids are her inspiration, her kids are her passion, and her kids are who fuel her business. Like, her love of being a mother is how she creates this empire. And I think that that is the point. Like, that is the missing link. Is like, how do you create something that works for your family?
Mm-hmm.
And I posted this on my Instagram last week, but like a few weeks ago, I turned down my dream job. Like, my dream job. 7 years ago, right before I had my daughter, would have literally like laid down on the train tracks for this job. Like, I don't care how much you pay me. I don't care when I need to be in the office. I will be there 80 hours a week. This is my dream. I have trained for this job since I was 17 years old. I am perfect for it. It is exactly what I need with the biggest players in the industry, doing things that like actually help people. I had like severe mold poisoning. Like, I was in the hospital. I almost died. And like, they help people on like a super high level. Like, name a celebrity, they've probably been on this podcast. Like, huge, actually helping people, actually like helping my city. Like, I'm telling you, it was perfect. It's also a executive position in a company that's definitely going to be $1 billion company in the next few years. So like, financially, we've been good, right? And I had to turn it down because it doesn't fit in my family. And I will tell you, it took me a long time to come up with that realization, because I got the offer letter. I looked at it. When I was in the interview, I was like so excited, like beyond excited. So I'm in the, and the founder's there, and the CEO, and like the CEO's deputy CEO, and I'm like, oh, and I leave, and I'm like, okay, great. I go home, I'm like, I got that job. I freaking got that job. And I did. The offer letter came. I read the offer letter, and I was like, okay, this is a lot. How am I going to homeschool? I don't know. I'll figure it out. I talked to the CEO again, and I get a little like, whatever, I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it, right? I'm just going to do it. Like, just jump, because I'm a very like obsessed person. I get obsessed with whatever I'm into. And so I decide I'm going to jump, and I show up to HR the next morning, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and she prints out my offer letter, and she hands it to me, and she gives me the paperwork for the tax stuff. And I was like, hold on. I leave the office. I go back to the CEO. I go, I don't think I can do this. And he's like, money, you need more money? Okay, let me change your offer. More money. Oh, okay. And he's like, I just want to make sure you're in or you're out, right? Like, this is going to be $1 billion company, and like, you're an executive. So like, you're in or you're out. And I was like, well, I mean, I definitely want to have more kids. And he was like, great. So you have the kid, the team that you're about to build will back you up while you have the kid. And then we'll hire an au pair for you. And I was like, okay. And he like sort of jokingly said, like, you're okay with someone else raising your kid, right? Like, I thought he was joking. Dead serious. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, his exact words weren't, you're okay with someone else raising your kid, though. He was like, at the au pair, great, right? Good. And I was like, yeah. So I go back to HR, and I get my new offer letter, and the cute little HR lady. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I just lied to him. And so I go back into his office, and he was like, more money? I was like, no, I lied to you. Like, I'm not actually okay with that. Like, genuinely, I'm not okay with it, because I didn't work this hard to become the woman that I am now for myself. I actually didn't think I deserved to be better. I didn't think I deserved really anything until I had kids. And then I was like, ooh, they deserve a mom that's really worked out these traumas and these demons, and like, all like, they deserve that. Like, they deserve a good mom. And I love them so much and think so highly of them that I want them to have that. Mm-hmm. So I put in like the work, girlfriend. Like, I'm not perfect by any means, but like, I'm a hell of a lot better than I used to be. I actually like myself now. Super weird. I couldn't get past the idea that someone who's not their mother, who doesn't love them the way that I love them, who doesn't know them the way that I know them, who hasn't worked out all their demons and every button that they could press, you know, like handling them and ensuring that they don't completely squash them into nothingness, you know, was going to raise them. And so, you know, he gave me the day and, you know, he said, you can have whatever you want, but you can't have it all. And that really was the catalyst for this huge aha moment, which is what we're talking about on this podcast of just like, and I couldn't sit with it. Like it acted like someone had told me that the sky was purple.
So here's a funny thought, because I'm getting chills as I'm listening to your story, because in a sense, one could argue, well, you can't have it all. You just described your dream job and you decided that you can't have it, right?
Yeah.
But what does it actually mean to have it all? And that's a different answer for everybody. For you, that means a very specific scene. It's your ideal scene. It's not my ideal scene, like you said at the beginning. It's not your boss's ideal scene. It's not even like one of your kids' ideal scene or your husband's ideal scene. It's what is your all? What does your all look like? And maybe you think it looks like one thing and you think it means climbing the corporate ladder and you think it means a giant Christmas bonus check and you think it means living in a certain state or having certain people around you. But I bet you, if you haven't recently analyzed what your ideal scene looks like with your current experience and your current understanding of what you need and want and your current lessons you've learned, because let me tell you, as a mom, if you haven't learned something, then you're probably not a mom, because every day of motherhood teaches you something. So in a new capacity, with your new point of view, if you say, okay, what is my all? Because 10 years ago, I didn't have kids. My all, my ideal scene looked completely different.
It was night and day. It was absolutely 100% a different mock-up in every way. But I think that's what's supposed to happen.
Yes.
And we're not supposed to stay the same. There's this really pretty like drawing that circulated Instagram several years ago. And it was like a person and then a person with like flowers growing out of their hair. And the person that doesn't have the flowers was like, you're different. And the person with the flowers was like, that's the point. Like, we're not like supposed to stay the same with the same ideas as we go through life. Like, we're supposed to compare things to life in order to like understand life and mix with life and like be able to control more and affect more and make a bigger life and reach bigger goals. And I think, you know, I sat with my husband after I had this meeting and we went to dinner, and man, I was like in a loss. Like, you would have thought that like my dog died. And he asked me something really beautiful. He was like, okay, what do you want? And I was like, I want to make the biggest possible effect and I want to bring my kids along with me. And he was like, great, let's fucking do it. Like, and I am so blessed with a husband who's like, let's fucking do it, right? Yeah. But I think at the same time, it's that understanding as partners of like, I am not going to give up everything and you aren't either. Like, you are you, I am me, and our children are themselves, right? And we're all a team. And if we look at that from that viewpoint, like, we're all a team and we all need to make it, whatever that means for you, right? Mm-hmm. And if we all have to make it, then we all have to think with each other. We have to be very pan-determined on this. It's not like a I go and everyone else waits, right? But like looking at it from a team viewpoint and like what having it all looks for me is that I still get to work. I get to make a huge impact on minimal hours. I work like 10 hours a week and I bring in about the same amount of income as I did working 60. But I know where I'm valuable. I'm not trying to do it all anymore. I'm not trying to be the one-stop shop agency for anyone who ever wanted to create content on anything. That's just not my game, right? Like, I am a professionally trained PR. I am a professionally trained content strategist. Like, I am a producer of content. Like, I am these things, and I'm not trying to be everything for every single person. And honestly, I think that's come with a lot of growth for me because I used to need to be everything for every person. Or I didn't personally think that I was valuable. Mm-hmm. And so for years of trying to be everything, and then honestly this summer, almost dying and being burnt out and having mold poisoning, and like I had an infection in my body, like my body couldn't fight because I had mold poisoning and like all these different things. And a lady came into the hospital room, and this is going to sound super dramatic. I'm not trying to get sympathy here, but a lady came into the hospital room right before my 3rd surgery in a week and was like, hey, I just want to make sure you have your will and everything in order. And I was like, I'm 30. Like, this was before my birthday. I was like, I'm 30 and I have 4 kids and like a husband and a business and like so much I want to do. Wait, like, whoa. Like, it didn't even cross my mind that it was possible that I would not wake up from the surgery. Like, it had not even gone there. And I looked at my husband and I just like started like hysterically crying, and he started crying, and I was like, this has gone too far. Like, I have not done what I wanted to do because I was trying to be everything for everyone. Trying to be this for this friend, and this for this client, and this for this client, and this for this client, and this for this person who asked for my help, and this for like, but what of that aligned to my overall goal? And for me, helping people is absolutely a part of my goal. So I don't mean be like a selfish jerk. I mean, how does it align? Like, how does it align to helping on the biggest scale that you want to? How does it align to like bringing in income? And obviously sometimes like you have a credit card bill and you gotta work, girl. Like, I'm not saying that these things don't happen, emergencies don't happen, you guys don't have to like quickly scramble to find out a solution. I just mean that your nervous system and your mind gets a lot quieter and a lot chiller when you know what you're doing. And in that moment when she came in, I was like, okay, you got to give me a minute. To my husband and I wrote letters to each one of my children. And I wrote a letter to my husband and I saved it in my notes app because my husband knows my password. And I was like, it's in my notes app. You're not going to read it right now. But if anything happens to me, that's where it is. And, you know, like I wrote something to my best friend. I wrote something, you know, I just like put it on there. And I was like, good. That's known. So now I can go into this surgery and know that nothing's going to happen because I prepared for it. Mm-hmm. But it really changed my viewpoint. And I think like in the past, I created this sort of like, put it all on me. I can handle all of it, which I can. But why?
But is that conducive to the attainment of your goals and your fulfillment? Yeah.
Isn't that wild though? I think that I'd like heard these like life-changing moments that like make you think. There's this girl on Instagram, Bridget is her name, and she owns the company The Bar. Anyway, it's a clothing company, and she recently, I think she's like 29, got cancer. And her page, although like very aesthetic and beautiful, she started posting things of like what cancer has taught me so far. Like, so every week she'll post like a thing. And she's like, I get to go to the shoot. I get to get my nails done. I get to take a walk. Like, I get to show up. When she used to be like, this is a huge company, this clothing brand, and it's like very trendy, and it like took off like a rocket, and I'm sure it was just like so much, right? But I get to do these things. And instead I used to invalidate myself for not being happy, even though I was overwhelmed. You know, like I'm not happy with where I am, but I'm doing so much and I don't even have time to figure out what I want. And then that would be invalidative. And it just became a whole like invalidate myself, like hate myself fest. And instead of being like, whoa. And I know this sounds so strange, but I think it was probably the best thing that could happen to me because I had an entire month in the hospital where I couldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. Like every client that I had in New York and LA and Georgia and like all over the country needed to shoot content. And I was like, guys, you're going to have to hire someone else. Like it took everything to a screeching halt where I was like, But I think that's where this idea of like all for me looks like that. All looks in my viewpoint as I get a piece of everything that I want. I get to homeschool my children and be responsible for how they learn and, you know, that they understand and that they understand life. And that's so important to me. Fast time, not as important to me.
Right.
I get to like help my clients communicate with the world in a way that's genuine. That's important to me. I get to help my community in a way that like I know only I can do. Mm-hmm. Like I live in a very small town in Florida and there's, you know, like it's not like LA where there's like PRs everywhere and producers everywhere and everyone could run a studio and like there's so much space for creatives. There's really not a lot of that here. And like to be able to show up that way in my community is so important to me. But at the same time, that means that like I'm not going to be the CEO of this company. Like it's not going to be my face on the Inc. 500 cover. And I think the thing is that that's not my all.
Right.
Yeah. I used to think it was, though, because that's somebody else's all.
That's the thing, is it can change and it's okay. And I think that also, like, we can't be so stuck in our old ideas of what is the ideal life.
Yes.
Because what I thought my life was going to look like at 5 years old, at 10 years old, at 15, 20, 25, even 30. When I turned 30, I was having my first baby, even at that point. And I have no doubt that in 2 years at 35, I'm going to have a different idea of what my ideal life looks like.
Totally. And I think it's really like there's just this point of like needing to be liked and admired that I think I just handled and honestly can fall back into it all the time. I think that this point of like, I'm doing this to be liked and admired, or I'm doing this because it's agreeable, like, or I'm doing this because
other people expect me to.
Yeah, like that has to go if you're going to get what you want. It has to. And it's uncomfortable, man. It's so uncomfortable. Like I married Alex at 21. And even my family was like, are you pregnant? Like, do we need to handle something? Like, what's going on? And I was like, I found my man. I am marrying him. And then at 24, I had my daughter. Like, I got pregnant at 23. I had her at 24. I had, like, over a year of infertility and miscarriages and all the things. And, like, the amount of people who were like, it's just not your time, honey. You have so much time. Like, I would not have gotten my daughter. And I honestly believe that every time that someone told me not to do something, because it was, like, unpopular or not widely accepted or maybe not something that, like, sounds easy for everyone, and I went the other direction, I made the best decision of my life.
Yo,
like,
same.
Every single time.
Literally same. I married my husband when I was 20. I'd known him for a while. We'd been dating for like a year and a half. He proposed to me kind of accidentally 3 days after our first date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you know, you know.
Yeah, and you have to trust that. Like, I believe that every being is like, has a bullshit meter in, like, that they just innately have. Like, you know what is right. And every time that I did not trust that, someone comes into my life and I go, wow, like, I feel really, like, crappy when they're around. But everyone likes them, so it must be fine. Like, next thing you know, there's, like, a knife in my back and I'm, like, super sick. And, like, everything's falling apart and my business loses $30,000 of revenue in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, man. I did spot that. Didn't do anything about it, but I did spot, you know, like, yeah. It just starts to become this thing of, like, if you don't trust your perceptions and, like, what you know, and I think believe that's also yourself. Part, yes, it's so part of becoming a mother, because, like, obviously you have, like, your maternal instincts, you know, like, and I'm sure you felt this, you're, like, walking in a grocery store parking lot or something, you're like, where are the vibes?
You know, I don't think it would be an episode of the Sensible Mama podcast if the word gut feeling, maternal instincts, or some variation thereof was mentioned.
It's just, like, it's part of who you are, and then, like, you also have, like, the spiritual part of, like, you know what you know. You know, like, and just to trust that, and I won't go, like, totally off on this tangent because it's not what this podcast is about, but it's taken me up until, like, the last 2 months to really, like myself to this degree. Like, I've been working on it for years. Like, I went back to my natural hair color. Strange. And, like, started dressing my body in, like, colors and, like, not wearing black. Like, I was in high school. My best friend in high school, which she might be watching this, hey girl, hey D. She told me, because she was British and she's still British, and she's so fashionable and she's so beautiful and every guy wanted to date her and every guy wanted to be with her and every girl wanted to be her. It was, like, such a thing. And I honestly did whatever she said because she was so cool. And forget what I thought about anything because she was right in my book. So she said, if you're not fashionable, you should just wear black. And then eventually you'll decide what your personal style is, but just wear black and then you just look fashionable. Do you know how many years it took me to stop wearing black? I was 17. I'm 31. Like, so many years. Or even, like, I started going blonde in high school, and I was blonde the whole time because someone told me that like I actually had like the personality of a blonde. So I should just be blonde. But I went back to my natural color, and I have never felt more like myself. And I think a lot of growth and becoming a mother is like going back to who you actually are, and this time being really kind to her.
Yeah.
And like I feel like my 14-year-old self in like loving what I love and having all these like opinions and colors and like feeling sort of giddy and excited. But this time, like, not being like, is a boy not gonna like me because I don't have boobs? Like, I had so many worries, you know, of just like the unknown. And at this point, I'm like, you know, the self-confidence really comes from just a security that you know that you can do it, right? And I feel like I've overcome so many barriers, and I remind myself of this like every day of like, there hasn't been one problem that I have not solved, right? And no barrier has ever actually stopped me because here I am, right? So like getting all stressed out and freaked out and having a moment and letting it stop you and give you a headache and like having to go, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't actually help because you have handled everything to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, like, you know, the message that I would give any mama watching this is like, the seasons are so short. The problem that you think is like the biggest freaking problem right now, it's going to be over in a few days. And you know what you know, and your maternal instinct and your ability to nurture and care for your child is perfect. You need to give yourself some grace. And yes, you probably shouldn't like yell and scream and torment your child, because that you're just going to sit with that. It's really going to affect you more than it affects them. Like, give yourself some grace. Decide that your kid is your friend and create a team, because it's so much fun to mother when you have a team. Not a village. I don't have one either. But when your kids are part of your team, I think that like that just changes everything.
I love it so much. This has been amazing. We could talk for hours.
47 hours.
But I think we'll wrap it here because that was amazing. I'm gonna call it "You Can Have It All." You can. I believe it.
Yeah. What is your all? And I would love to hear your all.
For me?
Yeah.
You know, to be honest with you, I am literally in the middle of figuring it out because it has morphed so much in the last year. But I'll give you something where I'm at with it so far. My kids are 2 and 4. Well, almost January and February, so they'll be 2 and 4 this winter. We've already begun homeschooling, and I'm loving every moment of it, and I don't want that to stop. I don't want to give that over to anybody. That is
such an important job.
That is one of my pieces of my all. I am excited, and I have so much passion for this, and my kids respond so well, and I'm like, this is something that I have to do. I want to find out who they are, who they want to be, and help make that a reality. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is, and it's very exciting to me to have kids because you get to watch this beautiful, incredible being learn things and get things wrong and figure things out, and you can help them and be a good friend. And it's not like you're a friend who just yeses them all the time, you know, like, you have to be a really, truly good friend, and I want to be a good, real friend to my children. I have some goals with regards to my church and my bigger group that are very important to me. Those are definitely a big part of my all. I want to keep learning. I want to keep being a better version of myself. And specifically with this podcast, with now becoming a doula, has been such an unexpected twist of a plot. You know what I mean? I am a really, really good doula, and I've learned that I am okay with admitting that to myself. Like, I have never had a job where I arrived first day on the job and I was like, I've got this, right? Full disclosure, I've had no formal training. I'm not even technically certified yet. Wow. And still, I bring so much value to my clients, and I have such confidence, and I bring something that I know other people can't. And I want to doula. I do want to help individual moms as much as I can, but I want to do it on a bigger scale. I want to make it so that birth trauma is not such a common thing. I want to make it so that people feel in control of their births.
Yes.
I want moms to walk away from their births feeling empowered, emboldened, courageous, confident, and not like it was something that happened to them or at them and that they were complete effect and that they remember that day with anything less than something amazing, you know? And that part I'm still figuring out, like, what does that look like? I'm writing a book, I have this podcast, I'm doing this doula thing, but I have so many crazy ideas of what I want to do with it. I want to have a whole postpartum course because that's such an unknown thing. Anyway, that part, I don't know what that all looks like yet, but I know that I'm excited about it, and I have like, there's just so much there, like bubbles out of me, and I haven't quite put it to words, you know what I mean? So that part I definitely need to figure out, but it's very exciting, and I've never felt this way about anything in my life before. I've never felt like, it's so cliche. People are like, it's like your calling, and I'm like, is it my calling, or is it just that I finally let myself get excited about something that I was truly, personally interested in?
Yeah, no one told you to be interested in it. No one told you that would make a lot of money or that you would be really good at it. Like it's your absolute push and drive for it. It's so real to me because I feel very, very similarly on just communications. And I think that you and I have a skill that's probably very similar, which is like our ability to hold the space for someone and let them figure it out. Like, but just be able to hold it and grant them that space. And I think that in a doula and someone who's like coaching communications, in any of these things, it's so valuable. And I think we're going to have to hop on another podcast soon and we can talk about natural births and postpartum and like all the things, because I had 4 natural births, all in very different scenarios. And I would have killed to have you as my doula.
I would love to hear. I'm obsessed with birth stories. I don't think I will ever hear enough birth stories in my life. So let's schedule a podcast where we just go down that road, because definitely
I love it.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you.
We are definitely over time. Tell the good people where they can find you on socials and so forth, and we'll set up our next meeting too.
I love it. So you guys can find me on Instagram at TJ Talks Too Much. You can also shoot me an email. It's mara@gottaknowmesocial.com. I will give it to her and she can put it under there in the caption. And I would love to talk to you. I'd love to help you. I'd love to answer any questions that you have. And honestly, I like friends. So come be a pal.
I love it. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. I will see you in the next episode.